The first major Diablo 4 patch has hit, and this is just going to be a quick overview of what changed. So a bunch of bug fixes to dungeons, events, and activities. There's gameplay fixes, which includes some more bug fixes, quality of life stuff, local co-op changes, bug fixes. They fixed some quest bugs and stuff. They fixed a whole bunch of UI stuff. We'll put the actual links to the patch notes down below in the video. There's also some miscellaneous fixes too. However, the most important things, or the biggest adjustments, are to your gameplay related things. They significantly increased the experience rewarded for completing Nightmare Dungeons, about 80% more. So if you want to level up, pretty much Nightmare Dungeons are the place to go. They also boosted experience from killing monsters in the Nightmare Dungeons. Helltide chests now provide some more experience, a little buff there. They also increase the reward from completing individual Tree of Whispers, and they fixed an issue or no experience with reward for completing the holdout style events. Now they also improve the rewards from different Helltide roaming bosses. They buffed the loot on this boss during Helltides. We're gonna give him a little whack here real quick, and then we're gonna see what he has for us now. Okay, Helltide boss defeated. What do we get now? We got a couple cinders, one sacred totem, and 2 rares. I think it's better. I think normally I usually just got blue items, but I think you get the same amount of cinders too. They should make it have like a cinder explosion and maybe like a little bit more loot. That was uneventful. I'm just gonna say how it is. That was pretty uneventful. I actually expected like some decent loot, but I'm level 100 and I got a sacred totem. That was pretty lackluster. And then also in Helltides now, when you open up the different chests within the zone, you end up getting more experience also, in addition to your loot. And Helltide chests also the really good source of like guaranteed elixirs and stuff. A little more rewarding on the Helltide chest, and you get your Forgotten Souls, which is needed for upgrading your gear. You can now teleport directly to Nightmare Dungeons. So you just play the Nightmare Dungeons that you want. The layouts, there's no more travel time. You don't have to be doing the Nightmare Dungeon glitch to reset the dungeons constantly. Dang. 192,000 experience. Oh, 85,000 gold now. Okay, so I actually have the data from this before. For Nightmare Dungeon level 100, you only got 8,940 gold and 169k experience. And then for Nightmare Dungeon level 43, you got 112k experience and 5,500 gold. So they significantly buffed the end game rewards now, and the amount of gold that you get per clear. Before, the gold reward for doing Nightmare Dungeons literally did not make sense. Like 5,000 gold for dungeon completion, you got that off a couple mobs. Now the new feature for Nightmare Dungeons with Insta Teleport, all you gotta do is just click your key now, right? You click your key, you open up your map, it even centers you over the new Nightmare Dungeon location. You click it to teleport, bada bing, bada boom, and you're there. That's nice. I like it. That's a good change. No more mount getting stuck on barricades. You're not discouraged from running different dungeons because they're so far from a waypoint. You do have to go through 2 loading screens, but that's not really that big of a deal. Yeah, one of the undocumented changes for today. In the new patch, they finally fixed the visibility on Necromancer, Corpse Exploded, and some of the other shadow skills, so it doesn't obscure the ground anymore. And they also made some adjustments to Sorcerer's Firewall too. So this is actually a pretty huge bug that's affecting a lot of characters in the game. But if you're too close to like certain objects or mobs in the game, you see I'm like right next to the barrier, when I pop my Grizzly Rage, right, I'm able to attack this thing, right? I have my poison on it. I'm gonna cast my tornado. Your tornadoes don't even spawn, they don't even register the damage, and they dissipate. So if you ever feel like you're in the game and you're attacking and you're not doing damage, it's probably because you actually aren't. And it's a huge bug that's affected the game for a long time, and it still hasn't been fixed yet. It happens to me on Uber Lilith sometimes when I'm attacking the sis. I'll cast my tornadoes and they just disappear. So that's still not fixed yet. It happens to a bunch of different classes, right? So you can't be too close to certain objects or your spell won't actually cast. It'll remove the cost of the spell, the resource, but your spell actually won't cast. Before, what would happen if you open up a nightmare dungeon key, if you're a solo player, went into that nightmare dungeon, then went and ran a normal dungeon. Every single time you teleported out and you went to sell afterwards and you went back to the portal, the dungeon would be reset. The only other way to reset is by waiting, you know, like a little bit over a minute, 2 minutes, or logging in and out of the game, right? You have to log in and out of the game if you're a solo player. They used to have the reset dungeon button in the game, but they removed that after some beta feedback. They didn't want hardcore players using the reset dungeon button to escape death. So anyways, let's test if they changed it. Does the dungeon reset trick still work? Yes or no? The dungeon reset trick has actually been fixed. So this is one of the quote unquote bugged fixes in the game. You can no longer reset your normal mode dungeons with the nightmare dungeon trick anymore. You actually have to wait the extended period of time, or you have to log in and out of the game, or just farm in a group. If you're a group player, after you finish your dungeon, you just disband the group and then you reinvite your players and it instantly resets. So honestly, I think they should put the reset dungeon button back in the game. It's a really nice quality of life feature. Forcing people to log in and out of the game to reset dungeons is kind of silly. And then if they really want to like stop people from abusing a hardcore, just put in like some hardcore limitation. They fixed the Purveyor of Curiosity before. When you would go to the Purveyor of Curiosity, it would say sacred or ancestral, right? Like, and it would like rotate. That didn't actually have an effect on anything at all. And it would confuse you because sometimes they would say, hey, the pants that you get are sacred, but if you bought them, you would get sacred and ancestrals. And then when it said the pants were ancestral, you would get sacreds too now. So it no longer has a tag on it. You just either get sacred or ancestral no matter what, or you get like a legendary, you know. And weekly bonus caches from world bosses no longer have the level requirements attached to them. And then basically, they're still working on increasing monster and elite density and endgame. These changes, you know, they want to make it around season 1 changes. Has Radar on Twitter, he reconfirmed that basically said team is looking to adjust better rewards by season 1, and season 1 is slated to be coming out mid to late July, so actually soon TM. And then overall, their philosophy on the balance changes for classes was just buffs. They did a bunch of buffs, some minor, some a little more significant, but they didn't really nerf anything at all. There's still a lot of core issues with the classes. However, it is a good change, and they are making an effort to improve each individual class respectively. So basically just buffed everything in the game, no substantial nerfs, and added a bunch of quality of life to Diablo 4. They still have a lot more work to do in terms of rewards, like endgame feature, the additional endgame, you know, expanding the endgame loop, adding additional bosses and stuff like that. But overall, positive, big W patch.